Well, good afternoon. It is Tuesday. It's a little afternoon, but good afternoon to you. I am so excited to be here with you again on this last Tuesday of the month of March. And my message to you is one that I think is very relevant to what's happening in the world today. Um, We know that there's a lot going on. I know that many of you have been experiencing, like many other people have been experiencing a lot of anxiety, but I'm excited to bring this timely message to you today, especially in these very, very turbulent times. Yes, we're all experiencing some things that we never thought that we would experience in our lifetime, but we will get through it. That's the good news, right? There's a lot of uncertainty and heightened anxiety, like I say. I'm getting a lot of calls, a lot of referrals of people just feeling overwhelmed. I don't pretend to have all the answers for sure. Nobody does. But what I do know for sure, what I do know for certain, is that there are things that we can control individually. Individually. Many times we tend to look outside of ourselves when the answers are right within us. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Okay? In the end, we are always free to choose what we think, what we think. That's why we call this Thinking Tuesday, and the actions that we take, which are going to bring specific results. So we have to be very careful about what we think and how we think. That's our job. Nobody can think for us. Nobody should think for us. We should not allow anybody else to think for us. We can gather other people's opinions, but in the end, it's what we think, what we believe. As usual, I'm going to remind you about our motto that we have adopted for Thinking Tuesday for those of you who are joining for the first time, and a reminder for those of you who have been here before. Um, the motto that we have adopted for Thinking Tuesday, I think it's really very apropos, even for now, especially for now, and that is: your mind is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. You plant the seeds. And you can grow flowers if you choose, or you can grow weeds. And we know what those weeds are: those stinking thinking, as they say, those negative thinking, negative self talk, those thoughts that don't get us anywhere. They're unproductive, they're not unresourceful. You can see how this model continues to be a great guide for how we handle any challenge that we face. Any challenge that we face. It's a simple motto, but very true. It just means that we are the gardeners of what we plant in our minds, and what we cultivate is what we harvest, right? The choice is always yours, and that's the good news. Nobody else's. You may not be able to control all the things that are thrown your way to the degree that you would like to. None of us can. But you can control how you think and the choices that you make as a result of that thinking. Because you think and you feel based on what you think, and then you do, and then you have a result. I'm really reminded of another quote which sends the same message, and which ought to be used as a very similar guide as the motto that I just recited for you. And that quote that came to me today was: whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way. Let me repeat that again. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way. You are in control of what you think, and based on what you think, you're going to have a result. You're going to do something that either supports that's going to support that thought. There have been times when I have been faced with very difficult challenges as well, and challenges that I felt were very insurmountable. There have been many of them. But I have always, thank God, I've always had a can-do attitude. Doesn't mean I'm not, my feathers don't get ruffled sometimes, because they do. I had to confront the reality of what would happen in those situations. I had to confront the reality of what would happen if I didn't take action, and how the decision that I ultimately made would impact me in the long run. Or not just me, others, people that I care about, family members, clients, friends, you know. Uh, so I'm returning to what some of you might have heard me talk about in a few sessions back. I'm returning to Turning Point in Atlanta again this spring. And it's a challenge course for coaches to help us challenge ourselves beyond what we feel is possible. Because that's what we preach, that's what we think. So we can't just teach theory, we have to experience what we're also espousing. So I'm going back to Turning Point this spring. And I'm going back because there's some challenges that I am facing that I want to overcome. And I want to support a can-do attitude, a can-do mentality. Last year I faced some of the most physically challenging moments during that event, and I overcame them. And to this day, I feel so proud of that, because I never thought that I would overcome them. And I have used those opportunities to fuel me forward on a daily basis. I remember the fear I had for doing some really strenuous physical activity. And I'm not saying that that has to be what you do, but what I'm saying, my message is that we have to challenge ourselves. We have to challenge ourselves. So I'm looking forward to going back this summer, this spring, I should say. And like I said, those challenges that I overcame last year, they've inspired me to take some bold steps in my personal life as well as in my business. And it's true what they say about success. It does leave clues. Success leaves clues. When you're successful at doing something, no matter how small, it doesn't have to be a large thing. It doesn't have to be some of those risky things that I did, jumping off a 50-foot pole and knowing that I was going to land safely, and taking those big steps. But that's what I did. But when you do something successfully, no matter how small, because I've taken small steps as well, those are just as important, because that's the start, right? It doesn't not only make you successful in that one situation, but the confidence it allows you to build is extended into other areas as well. So you might not find that you have to test yourself as much in another area, because you've already tested yourself in one area. And that feeling of success, that confidence, it transfers to the other activities that you do. At least that's what it has been doing for me, and that's what it usually does. That's the whole purpose of this. So why am I telling you all this, you may ask? Because now more than ever, we all individually will be called on to manage our inner resources in ways that we have never faced before. Ultimately, it's going to be a you and you situation, a me and me situation. There's a lot happening out there, but we have to call on our inner resources that are always there. And I smile about this because I have come to understand those resources, how to access them, and I help my clients do the same. So I'm not immune. I'm not immune from any of the many challenges that many of you are facing during these difficult times. But I strongly feel that there is an opportunity in these challenging times. You always look for opportunities in challenges. There are always lessons in them. So I feel that there's an opportunity in these challenging times for us to grow and really come to know ourselves and our capabilities. A lot of them which are hidden or unknown, and we have to find them. And these are times when we can do that, when we can find those inner resources. This is an opportunity to develop our confidence and get to know what our capabilities are, that areas that we never even imagined we had strength in, but we just have to find them and strengthen them. This is an opportunity to grow, to develop a growth mindset as well, which allows you to think about possibilities rather than just seeing the obstacles. There are a lot of obstacles in the way, but you see what you choose to see, right? I choose to see the opportunities. If you think you can't, you're right. And that type of thinking only results in a fixed mindset. So I want to encourage you to be open, to allow yourself to be open. Even they say, do it scared, do it afraid. Yes, do it afraid. Do it afraid. Thinking about the possibilities really opens you up to seeing them and receiving them when they appear, because they're always there. But we're not looking for them. When we're not looking for them, when we don't see them, we don't pay attention when they do show up. And that's really supporting a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. We have the ability to grow. Our minds should not be fixed. When we're fixed, when our minds are fixed, then we're stuck, and we don't want to be stuck. Negative self-talk only promotes and fuels self-doubt. That's not a good place to be, because it becomes an endless loop which just paralyzes you and creates more anxiety, stress, and makes you feel more overwhelmed and depressed sometimes, as a lot of people are feeling these days, because you've built a wall around your mind and it keeps you trapped. So I want to encourage you to open up your mind, see the possibilities, have someone help you see what you can't see in yourself, because many times we don't see what other people see, and we need to be encouraged. This is not a time to be enclosed, to lock yourself in a home, or to turn the other way from things because they're overwhelming. Yes, you have to protect yourself, but allow yourself to be open to possibilities also, because there's much that can be gained even in these challenging times. And I can't help myself from smiling because I know that's true. I am here to encourage you and to remind you what a wonderful, wonderful and resourceful human being you are, because you are. You all, we all are. We know so little about ourselves, but there's a lot that we can find out about ourselves to make us more resilient, because that's what we want to encourage. We want to encourage resilience in times like these. You would be astonished. You'd be astonished if you allowed yourself to tap into that and to begin to really get to know how powerful you are and how you can access that power, beginning with the way you think. Goes back to that again, always goes back to that. Always goes back to that. So if you don't want to hear about thinking, don't don't listen to Thinking Tuesday, because that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm talking about. But that's where it starts. That's your power, the seat of your power, the seat of our power, how we think. I talk a lot about your thoughts and the fact that based on how you manage them, you create the results, which is true. But your thoughts are only the beginning. They're only the beginning. As you begin to think differently and develop new beliefs that support your growth, these beliefs must be paired with action to be reinforced. And that's usually where we have the most problems. But let me ask you this. Have you ever planted a seed and left it on its own devices to grow? No, I don't think you do. I certainly don't. You take steps, you take action to help it grow stronger and to bear fruit ultimately. You water it, you fertilize it, you put it in an area where it can receive sunlight to allow it to thrive, right? So the actions that you take are also crucial to the outcome that you receive. So it starts with your thoughts, but it has to be backed by action. These are some strategies that I'll suggest to overcome feelings of overwhelm and anxiety and stagnation and really help to strengthen the way that you think, your new way of thinking, if this is new for you. Try repeating daily affirmations to bolster you and develop a positive identity. Affirmations, those I am statements, really help to have you focus on your strengths and the positive things. You can also spend time visualizing that area of your life that you want to change, that you want to impact. Visualize what it would look like. Be a child again. Use your imagination. It is very healthy, and it helps us to project and to look forward. It helps us to see the possibilities. And that's where it starts as well. In addition to visualizing, even speak it as you wish that it would be. Speak it. When we speak, we reinforce what we think. And I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating again. Even as you speak and you wish, you speak the way you wish it would be, you wish also as you see yourself. See yourself as you wish you were, as you want to become. Your subconscious mind will believe what you tell it, anything that you tell it that works for the positive and it works for the negative. Here we're using it for the positive because it cannot tell the difference between the real and imagined. That's why if you think sometimes about something negative, you're going to feel negative because your subconscious is telling you that this is happening. If you fear something, you haven't experienced it yet, but you fear something, you fear what would happen if you did it, your subconscious is taking all of that in, and it's going to react based on what you're telling it. So speak positive. Your subconscious is a major asset that you have. So use your imagination. Let your subconscious help you to reinforce those things that you would like to change in your life. Use your imagination to begin to build a new belief about yourself and your circumstances. What's going on now is not going to last forever. And yes, it might get worse before it gets better. But you play a pivotal part in the results that you'll see. Your center is what you need to focus on, what you can produce. And you begin to produce that with your thoughts and the actions that follow. You can also set small but achievable goals. They don't have to be lofty goals. You'll get there. Because success begins with taking the first step. You can't have a result if you don't take the first step. So take the first step, even if it's small, and do something. Do something that moves you in the direction that you want to go. For instance, I began this message by referring to the heightened anxiety and the feelings of uncertainty in the current environment. A very small but vital step, to begin reclaiming your space, reclaiming that space in your head that's being taken in all different directions. Reclaim your space is an example of that is limiting how much news you consume. It doesn't mean that you're going to shut everything out, but take it in small dosages. Don't get so addicted to scrolling in your phone, listening to all that comes on TV or wherever you get your news. Limit it. There's just so much that you can take and digest. That's going to create overload. Give yourself a time limit. Set your alarm if it helps to keep you accountable. No more than 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And this is just one example of how you can begin to take small steps, but important steps. And lastly, when you're trying to change your mindset and your beliefs, when you're trying to change the way you go about your life, the way you think, the way you manage your thoughts. Nothing is more important than applying the principles that you have learned to begin that change. You can't just think it. That's very, very important, but then you have to do something. I would like to encourage you to think of an area of your life where you can apply these principles that I shared today. How you think, the things that you can do to shape your thinking, the things that you can do to get rid of self-doubt. Think about those things. I'll leave you with the quote that I shared at the beginning. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right anyway. The choice is always yours. That's good news. I encourage you to think you can, because I believe you can. I have to believe that I can also. That's what drives me. Another thing that you can do also, I encourage you to go to my website, www.drcherylburton.com, and sign up for my daily thoughts. They come out every day. They help you to begin your day with positive thoughts, something to think about, something to drive you, to move you forward. So go to my website, drcherylburton.com, and subscribe to sign up for my daily thoughts. That will encourage you also. Because sometimes we don't know what to start thinking. That will give you a jump start. So I'll help you. You can also, at my website, sign up and request a complimentary, confidential consultation where I can help you with any of these issues that you might be facing, where you might need a thinking partner because you have some ideas and you don't know how to get them off the ground. I have my thinking partners. Why shouldn't you? You can also ask me about any of my programs. Go to my website. You'll see all of my programs that I'm offering. Right now, during the month of February and extending through March, I have been offering mainly for couples in any stage of your relationship. You don't have to be married. You can be dating, you can be engaged, you can be married for a year, you can be married for 6 months, you can be married for 50 years, because relationships always need to be fed if they're going to be healthy. So I'm offering a free webinar. It was a Valentine's Day special, like I said, but it's been extended because every day should be Valentine's Day, right? But it's a free webinar which will take place on Sunday, March 9th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's called Rediscover, Reconnect, and Reignite. Sometimes we have to rediscover each other in a relationship. We have to reconnect because, again, all that's going on, and even regular everyday thing, our jobs or whatever, create a disconnect. We don't connect as we used to. And reignite also. Reignite that passion that we might have lost, that interest in each other that we just take for granted. And this is based on the way we communicate. So the webinar is going to be I'm going to be talking about how to discover your communication style and how that impacts positively and negatively on your relationships. So go to my website, drcherylburton.com, and sign up for the free webinar that's called Rediscover, Reconnect, and Reignite. And I'm calling it Rediscover. When you go to the website, you'll see that DISC is in capital letter. That is the type of communication style that we're talking about. Try to find out which one is yours, which one is your partner, and how can you complete each other rather than compete, which is what happens in some relationships. How can you adjust your communication style? Are you a D? Are you an I? Are you an S? Are you a C? Or do both of you have some of the same combinations? How are they impacting your relationship, your communication? And this is again for couples, married, partnering, dating, engaged, or in any stage of your relationship. So knowing your communication style is very important. And then also, in conjunction with that, I would like you to really take a look at the other offer, which is how you can actually get a DISC assessment to help you understand your communication style. The webinar is going to talk about communication styles in general, and you might be able to identify yours. But this particular offer, it's been running, and you have until May 31st to sign up for it. And you have until April 30th to actually take the assessment and get the debrief, which I will do with you individually and as a couple. And this is called DISC, D-I-S-C, the secret sauce. Yes, there's a secret sauce to reconnect and enhance your communication and rediscover each other. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? It's found that couples who communicate effectively tend to have longer and more meaningful relationships. So why continue using old, ineffective communication styles that you're just doing at random without really knowing, without knowing that you can communicate in more effective ways than you have? So sign up for that. That's also on my website. And you can have your assessments. You can schedule your assessment anytime between the time you take the you sign up and April 30th. All right, and it includes a debrief with me, with you as a couple. As usual, these messages are stored on my YouTube channel. That's Thinking Tuesday, Cheryl Burton. And share this message with someone else, because everyone, like I said, everyone is going through some feelings about what's going on in the country and in the world. So sign up, share this, go to my YouTube channel, Thinking Tuesday, Cheryl Burton, to see other messages that I've posted there. I look forward to seeing you next, oh gosh, it's going to be March, the end of March, the last Tuesday in March, for another message of Thinking Tuesday. I wish you well. Know that you have the power and the resources to change your life, to change the results by the way you think. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right either way. I'm betting on you to think that you can. So take care. See you at the end of March. Bye for now.